This is Distinguished Speakers, HPRM 2004. And I think we have people all over the city on this thing. I'm sitting at the Holiday Inn along with Terry Trim and Ashi, our graduate assistant. The rest of you are probably on campus or home or who know in your apartments or who knows where. Terry Trim has told us that questions during his presentation are fine. So if something comes up you want to ask, just jump in. And we're going to see how that goes. Hopefully it's going to be fine. We are going to do this every Thursday for the next 13 weeks at this time. And I think we've got most of the glitches hammered out, at least on this end. But if something goes wrong, if something happens, don't panic. Just do what you got to do. See if you can jump back in on the call. We are recording this session, so if somehow you miss part of it, we can make sure you see a recording of it. Next, some of you owe me some homework. So I got some homework from some of you. I didn't get it from some others. So please, if you owe it to me, please email it to me. And I'm interested in your feedback. I'm interested in your comments. This is something new for me. It's something new for us. It's something new for our speakers. Some of you students probably do this fairly regularly. Well, a lot of us don't. It's something new. We're interested in doing better. Anyway, that's all I've got. So welcome again, and let me turn it over to Terry Trim, who's our speaker this week, who is the president of Tops Barbecue. And I'm sure he's going to explain what he does, how he got there. And Tops has got some interesting things going on he's going to tell us about. And he's got a great customer service attitude along with a great product. So Terry, take it away, my friend.
All right, thank you, Chris. So maybe like you guys have been doing, an awful lot of my business has been virtual over the past number of months. So as we get through, I'll tell you a little bit about myself and about Tops. And then I'd love for you guys to chime in and ask some questions on what you'd like to know or what you'd like to, maybe a topic you'd like to talk about a little bit. So I'm the president of Tops Barbecue. Tops has been around for about 68 years. We have 15 locations currently. The last store we opened was 8-9 years ago. And we are in the process of building our 16th store in Bartlett right now. That's got a projection date opening, give or take the first couple weeks in November, depending on weather and how many hiccups they come into. So Lord knows if you ever build something, a restaurant or a hotel, you'll find out nothing ever goes as planned. We're also in negotiations right now for another property, which will be our 17th store, that if everything kind of goes on track, we'll have that opened up in probably February or March of 21. So we're looking to open at least 2, if not 3, in 21. So we're going into some pretty rapid expansion over the next year or so. We also are hoping to start the franchising conversation in 21. We'd love to spin Memphis barbecue around the country because Memphis barbecue is tremendously unique in what it does. The other two big places out there right now, Corky's and Central, have both been bought by some local investors here in Memphis, and they're starting to spread out across the country to Nashville, Houston. So they're already starting to expand out across the region. So there's a lot of opportunity for Memphis style barbecue all over the place. I'm a graduate of University of Memphis. I went here from 86 to 91. I'm a KA, for any of you that are Greek. I'm a KA here from Memphis. I've been in the casino business or the restaurant business for 34 years now. So I've done everything from restaurants to casinos to hotels and room service. This is my first quick service, full service, fine dining. I pretty much covered the gambit on what's out there in the food service industry. And I spent almost 9 years in casinos. So I got a lot of exposure to that atmosphere and the room service side of it, because we were responsible for that for quite a bit too. So I've got a pretty extensive background in just about everything you can do in the food service industry. I started out as a server. If any are familiar with Memphis downtown, it's Westies right now. It was the North End back in the day. I started out, I worked 5 years through there all the way through college, back through the 80s when I had hair and it was all the way down my back. I had that long rock and roll hair. Then I cut it all off to go to the corporate world. But I've been a server, a bar manager, a kitchen manager, an executive chef, general manager, food and beverage director, director of operations, and now I'm president of the company. So it's been a pretty interesting journey through there. You guys are tremendously fortunate. When I went into school, I started in the restaurant business 2 weeks out of high school and never got out. So when I went to school, I just went here on a business degree. So the fact that you have the School of Hospitality where you can focus specifically in the hospitality industry is a tremendous leg up. This business, until you get to today with COVID, this business has never really gone backwards since it started. It really got its origins in around the late 60s. If you want to get into what we perceive as restaurant business today, it started with Fridays and Hard Rock Cafe and Bennigan's, and this full service type environment really started in the late 60s and blossomed through the 70s. So it's been tremendously successful. We've never really planned for a pandemic. I'll go into a little bit so you can understand the business today. And again, if you have questions, please ask. But we're experiencing things that we've never, ever experienced before from our industry. Crazy stuff. Like obviously I sell barbecue. Well, we use pork shoulder. Well, we had a problem. We had a supply problem, not because we couldn't get pork, but because there are not people working in the plants to process the pork. We use a whole shoulder, but right now it's still tremendously expensive. So that shoulder is made up of a picnic and a butt, those two pieces of it. Those are much less expensive to use right now because they're easier to process. So we never ran out, but a lot of people struggled. Tops is also famous for their hamburger. And I don't know if you went out and bought ground beef in the past month or so, but the price skyrocketed. It's back down to normal too. But since we're a commodities driven business, it's what we take for granted. You get gas today, tomorrow the gas goes up. 2 weeks later, it's up even more. 6 weeks later, it's back down lower than it was today. But you can't do that with your menu pricing. Unfortunately, our menus don't fluctuate day to day, week to week like gas prices do. So when your commodity and your core ingredients skyrocket by 50%, it's really hard to deal with the margins. One of our companies, sister companies right now, sells catfish. Same thing. Catfish prices are skyrocketing. They're having tremendous problems, not because there's no catfish, but because there are not enough employees in the plants to process them. So it's very unique to what we're doing. We're struggling with issues we've never done. Who would have ever thought we would have been managing a coin shortage, right? Now you have to manage your change from the bank. That's another aspect you got to manage and manage with customer service. We never thought we'd run out of money. Gloves that we all wear in this business, where they used to be $3 to $4 a box. You're paying $7.50 and $8 a box. And as of this week, we're all struggling because all the major purveyors are running short on the nitrile gloves. And it's an industry-wide thing. Those products are having problems being produced. They're going to the health people first, but we are required to wear gloves. We have to wear gloves. That's a health department mandate. So we're struggling even to get that product in. If you remember, we might be going for the old lunch lady, really cheap lunch lady gloves if we have to. But there's just a number of issues that we're dealing with. The staffing, and the staffing's been crazy because there are people that have been on unemployment making $800 a month, which is more than they make if they're a 9, 10, 11, even $12 an hour employee. So they're making more money being unemployed than they are working. So it's put a huge strap on the hiring process. That's why, I mean, if you want a job, you can find a job. Everybody out there's hiring. Everybody's out there in the same situation.
Terry, let me jump in for a moment. You said 800 a month. I think it's 800 a week.
Yeah, you are correct. Yeah, it's actually in Tennessee, it's $825, $850 a week. Yeah, I'm sorry, you are correct. So these are people that are making, $25,000, $30,000 a year, and right now on an unemployment, it puts you about the $50,000, $53,000 a year mark. So
for staying home.
For staying home. So that did expire. The president issued an executive order to bring that down to $400. But if you live in Tennessee, you get your normal $200 from the state, and then you get the $400 on top of that. So you can still make, if this goes through, you can still make $600 a week by staying home. So when you're in our industry, and again, you're dealing with people from minimum wage up to $12, $15 an hour, it's a tough situation. So no matter how much planning we do, no matter how good we are, no matter what we've done to ensure what we need to do in our business, nobody ever planned for a pandemic. It's just not something that was in your day-to-day business strategy. So we are tremendously fortunate. The majority of our business, 60%, 65, maybe a little more now, is actually through our drive-through. A lot of my dining rooms are shut down. So we're doing drive-through, we do online, you can come in and do carry-out. Full service restaurants are taking a huge hit. Hotels have been taking a brutal hit. But Tops and most quick service places are actually up in sales. So we're weathering this actually pretty well. When this started, we did not have online and curbside. So these are things that we had talked about that we fast-tracked to put into place. So now with the dining rooms closed down, we're just focusing on getting better at what we do. So we're getting better at the online, we're getting better at the drive-through, and we're really working on implementing curbside at more of our establishments. So, in this environment, people are doing whatever they have to do to survive. A lot of places aren't going to make it. A lot of restaurants here in town that are shut are not going to make it. And it's sad. There are people, I know people that have had their business for 10, 12 years, and they don't know if they're going to be able to reopen. So this experience has been tremendously challenging on our business, because if you follow the politics of it, they're going after the restaurants, they're going after the bars, because that's where people go and hang out. Technically, right now, which most people aren't really enforcing, but you do have to wear a mask into the establishment, but you are not supposed to sit longer than 2 hours. You are not supposed to serve anybody a drink that has not ordered food. So what they're going is, if Chris and I want to go have dinner, fantastic. What they're trying to get is to keep Chris and myself and Landon and Peggy from all going out and sitting around and just hanging out and drinking for a few hours. So that's what the government's trying to do, to kind of eliminate everybody hanging out together. So go out to eat, but eat and go home. So again, that's another challenge that we're dealing with. If you go out now, you see, if you go to a full service restaurant, you have to sign your name and your phone number, and that's all for tracking purposes. So if somebody does contract COVID and they say, yeah, I was at Huey's on Tuesday night, they can go to Huey's, find out what time they were there, find out else who was around there. So we used to manage restaurants, and our plates just got a whole lot bigger with everything else we have to manage now. And it's across the board as an industry. So, we're hoping this round we get this and move forward sooner than later. So, but we're still going to be in this environment for a couple months. So that's kind of my COVID. Does anybody have any questions about that, or kind of curious about anything else about how COVID's affected the business? All right, quiet bunch. All
I
right.
have a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Who's this?
So it's Steven.
Hello, Steven. How you doing?
Doing well. So you were saying how things like the pork shoulders have gotten a lot more expensive to get you to change your menu price.
Yes, sir.
What do y'all do to like try to compensate for the money you lose getting the barbecue, but not increasing the menu prices?
Well, what we did is when the shoulder prices went up, and I'll give you an example. So typically this time of year, shoulders are roughly, say, $1 a pound. A few weeks ago, they shot up to $1.50 a pound. So what we did is we found out that that shoulder is made up of two pieces. Again, the picnic and the picnic and the butt. So we actually moved to picnics and butts that were priced lower. It's parts of the shoulder, but it's easier for them to process that product versus trim out the whole shoulder. So what other people are doing, again, catfish has gone up from $65, $70 a case to about $85 a case right now. So right now, anybody that sells catfish, you're just taking the hit. You're just taking the hit in your food cost. When our burgers, I sell about 18,000 burgers a week, and my burger prices increased. My cost increased by almost 20% for about 6 weeks. You're just taking the hit. So some places have put a COVID charge on their menu. So when you ring it up, everything's the same, and then they're charging you an extra, 15% for a COVID charge. Because what you don't think about in full service places is they don't use disposable utensils. They have plates, they have glasses, they have silverware, they rewash those and reuse them. Now what are they doing? Well, their costs have gone up because they have to use paper plates, to-go boxes, plasticware, disposable cups. So that's a cost they're incurring that they've never incurred before. So some places have raised prices. Pretty typical in our business. It's kind of standard to raise the prices a couple times a year.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be doing a price increase in probably October, but it's tough to offset. A lot of these places, it's just tremendously tough to offset the menu prices. A lot of people have gone to paper menus. Steak. If you've noticed, steak has gone up. A lot of those restaurants have increased. The way they're set up, they can. You go to Capital Grille, they're going to charge you more. And again, it's not that there's a lack of cows. There are plenty of cows. They just don't have the people in the plants to process the meat. So ground beef, easy to do. We're back, there's plenty of it. But well-cut steaks, they hand cut those. You have to trim them, you have to process them, and they don't have the available manpower to do that. So it's tough to get, and if you do get it, it's really expensive. So does that help? Does that answer what you were looking for?
Thank you.
Mostly you just suck it up. All right, anybody else?
I have a question.
Sure.
So when I'm at work and I get really hungry, I'll order like off, DoorDash and Uber Eats
Right.
from local places. I guess what my question is, do you get commission from DoorDash and Uber Eats like during this time?
No, so that's a great question. And again, for being in this business, so there are a lot of places that they're all called third-party delivery. Okay, I do not use third-party delivery. Third-party delivery really picked up during the COVID, and that's mostly how full-service restaurants were trying to survive. Since you couldn't dine in, they were trying to get food to go. The challenge with third-party delivery services, especially for independent restaurants, they charge you about 30%. So when restaurants run on slim margins as it is, especially an independent restaurant, third-party delivery takes, well, it's about 30%. It's roughly 25 plus taxes plus some other stuff. So it's 25 to 30% for that delivery charge. So you're not making, for most of us, you're generating revenue, which is great, but you're not really putting a lot to the bottom line once you get a third-party delivery service involved. What most of us, the complaints that we have about third-party delivery is we cannot control our product. French fries don't travel well. I don't care who you are, what you do, French fries don't travel well. So if you order from me, you order a cheeseburger and fries, we make it, they pick it up, it comes to your house. You hope it's not cold, but the fries aren't going to hold up as well 20 minutes after they leave my building. And I don't have any control over that. So if you are an unhappy guest, typically what you do is you call me and you complain, and it may be that Uber took 30 minutes to get the food. So it's a tough situation, because ultimately, if you're not happy with Tops. You don't typically blame Uber for something that happened. So it falls on us to take care of you as the customer. So when you use a third party, we lose control over the integrity of our product. A little challenging. Look, they're big. They're nationwide. They're going out there. People use them. Through COVID, their stock is just skyrocketed because people do it and they love it. Just some stuff travels well and some stuff doesn't.
So Terry, what do you do for delivery?
Big orders we do ourselves. We were doing some delivery, but we're not known for it. It didn't go over that well. We do catering. So larger orders we'll deliver to the house. We don't typically, if you call and order 2 cheeseburgers and want them brought to the house, we don't do that at this time.
Okay.
Not an area but we do push the catering. We push the bigger orders. If you want to do, like we have 12-pack, 24-pack. If you want to do something a little bigger, yeah, we'll run it out and deliver it to you.
No, I understand. It's all based on volume.
It is. And the challenge that you have why don't we deliver ourselves? Well, we can. And I even looked into that. So my liability insurance, if Chris is an employee and Chris is bringing food to your house and he's in a car accident, my liability insurance will cover Chris. But when you're running your own, there's so many things. There's the liability, there's the staffing, the consistency, right? So if I hire Chris to be a delivery driver, and what if I only get 1 or 2 orders a night? What am I supposed to do with him the rest of the time? Do I provide a vehicle, or do I let him drive his vehicle? So the pizza places and a lot of these companies that do it have got it all worked out really well. But for smaller businesses, for those of us that haven't done that before, it's a challenge. So and that's why the third-party delivery has been so successful. I was the director of operations for Kooky Canuck here in Memphis for a long time. And when the third-party Chef Shuttle was the first ones in town, and we got on board with them pretty quick. We did Chef Shuttle, and we did third-party for a long time. And then after a while, we decided that one's the complaints, and 2 was the cost for us. Us personally, the 30% that it cost us, we didn't want to do it. And then also from a small business, from a reconciling your bank statement and your finances, it is really, really hard. There's a lot that goes into. So from the accounting side, again, there are things people don't even think about. And if you're a business owner and you want to get into it, you go, great, third-party delivery, let's do it. Well, then your accountant wants to choke you because you just made her life tremendously more challenging when you have to start reconciling the way they pay. Some do pay weekly, some do daily. And if you look for me, if I did 15 restaurants, third-party delivery, that's, wow, 15 deposits on top of the regular deposits every single day. I mean, that's a lot of reconciling to do. So that's why we haven't gone that route yet.
Got it. Thanks.
No, that's a long answer for that, but third-party delivery can be a tough thing.
Understand.
So, anybody else have any questions?
I do.
Hello, who are you?
Hey, my name is Delicia Cole.
Hello,
It's so
Delicia.
nice
How you
to
doing today?
meet you. Good. How are you?
I am well.
Do you know the specific price that you've lost since everything has like went up? And is there a chance that you can get your money back any certain way, or is you just lost and you just have to suck it up like you said?
Well, I'm in a very unique position. I am in a better spot than most independent small restaurants. I haven't lost money. We took a huge hit in April. We were way down in April. But since then, we've been on a steady climb up in positive sales. Actually, as of about 3 weeks ago, I'm actually even for the year. Now, I caught myself all the way back up. So that's not where most places are. Independent, right? If you've got Cole's Delicatessen, right? If most people are just behind, and it's a challenge. I don't know if you're aware of the PPE money that the government, you hear a lot about the PPE money that they sent out. That was a big help to help get people through. But it's just the cash flow is what's so hard, because the most independent restaurants fail strictly because of cash flow. And in this situation, they don't have enough money in the bank to continue to pay all their bills when their revenues drop down. Because if you stay open and say you do delivery, you do third party, you do curbside, your utility bills aren't really going down, right? Your rent's definitely not going down. So you're operating on a smaller margin anyway, and now cut your revenue in half. Unless you got money in the bank, it's been tremendously hard on people to pay their bills. So there've been a lot of famous restaurants around the country that have shut down just for that reason. Landlords aren't going to go 6 months without getting paid. So.
I have another question.
Sure.
So, about a month ago, I stayed at the Peabody, and all their restaurants were open, the gift shops, everything was open there.
Hotel was pretty empty though, wasn't it?
Right. So I know that they're, probably losing money, but with Tops Barbecue, did you all open all the locations at once, or are you staggering it out?
Well, good thing. I'll tell you staying at the Peabody was tremendous, because downtown's a ghost town. And remember, in the summertime, downtown's supposed to be packed. Just tourists. Hotel occupancy has been tremendously low. And without the hotels downtown, the restaurants aren't doing as well. Without the tourists, people from out east aren't going downtown, so the restaurants are taking a huge hit. I never closed it. I closed down my dining rooms at one point and reopened them. And then when the next wave of COVID just came through, when they started making you take names, we closed most of the dining rooms down again because we didn't want to deal with it. We had a conversation today about slowly trying to open up some of them. My Lamar location, that's the only restaurant I ever closed down. So of my 15, I only closed one. And I closed that because I was opportunistic. I was having some staffing problems, some issues at that store. So I took COVID as an excuse to close it down. So, and it reopened yesterday. Should have reopened it already, but what we did, we actually did some remodeling, put new equipment in. That store needed a lot of love. So when COVID hit, we just took the opportunity to board it up. So we've had it shut down for about 6 months, but now it's back and going. So if you're on Lamar, go to Tops. But we're going to open up with limited hours. We're starting out 10 to 3 is all we're going to be open for the first couple of weeks. And then we'll push and see where we go from there.
Now, Terry, let me switch gears for a minute. These students that are in on this Zoom class may be interested in a food and beverage career. What advice? What's your vision for the future for either graduates entering the restaurant business or current students that want some part-time work?
Okay. You are never going to be lacking for a job if you're any good in this business. Again, COVID is just a complete freak. But like I said earlier, this business has never gone backwards. For those of you that live in town, all you see is more restaurants opening, more hotels opening. So there's a tremendous workforce available. We thought we were going to beat agriculture this year, but in the state of Tennessee, the Tennessee hospitality industry is the second largest employer in the entire state of Tennessee. A lot of people work in this business. So moving forward with it, if this is what you guys are looking to do, you will never lack for a career. There's always job openings, especially for good people. So, but what I will tell you, so I know we're kind of tricking on time, is I will tell you this. So from my career moving up at different levels and different epiphanies and different time in my career, let me tell you one thing I think you really, really want to focus on, and you need to take it to heart now, is most of you, when you go to work, do you ever ask who the manager is today? You know, because like, especially in the restaurant business, a lot of times you go on and go, who's the manager today? Oh, Terry. And they go, oh, that sucks. Or Chris. Oh, that's great. I love working with Chris. Well, we're both the managers and we're supposed to do our jobs, correct? But that's not what it always is. That's not what it's always about. Everybody does things a little bit different. Everybody has some different talents. So the one thing I would really encourage you to do is I move forward. I was with my district manager years ago, and I said, I'm really working on being a GM. I'm working on the numbers. I'm trying to learn the P&L. And this is before we had computers to do it all. But he said, Terry, don't worry about that. I can teach a monkey how to do the numbers. You need to run great shifts. You need to support your people, and you just need to be great at running the day-to-day operations. So I've always taken that to heart. And over the past 2 decades of me being in this business, really once I became a GM and all my levels since then, my goal has always to been a great leader, not a great manager. So as the general manager, I've got shift managers, my kitchen manager, my bar manager, my shift manager, my leads. These people are supposed to run great shifts. My job is to teach them to run great shifts and to teach them to have my job. So if I've got a group of people that are smarter than me, that's great. And actually I do right now. My management team at Tops over the past year since I've been there, I went out and hired people, and just about every one of them individually is better at what they do than I am. What I need to do is I need to understand accounting, but I have to understand accounting, and I have to understand marketing, and I have to understand catering, and I have to understand operations. So I have to have but I've hired people that are really good in the areas that they manage. Surround yourself with good people. But I talk a lot about culture. You may not be the general manager of your store. You may be the bar manager, the shift manager, but when you run the shifts, you need to be great. And you need to build a culture that your people want to work with you. You do not want to be that manager that they go, who's working today? Terry. Oh, God, that sucks. I hate working with Terry. It's not. You have to build trust and really, really focus on, the more you read, it makes you better. You can look up, there's a lot of management books. I have a library, basically, and I've read every book because every book I read, I pull some kind of nugget out of it that helps my management style. So you're going to have to, so you guys are young, and as you work and get more in the workplace, everybody you work with has a talent. Your boss is your boss for a reason. And you need to pick that up and go, what do you like about that person? What do you like about the job that they do? Everybody, there are things that are good and things that are bad. So you need to pick those nuggets up and emulate your management style. So leadership is not something you're born with. It's just not. Leadership is something you learn. Leadership is something you're taught. Leadership is something you work on to get better. It's not in our natural instincts just to go out there and be leaders. You have to learn to communicate. You have to learn how to talk to people. You have to learn how to talk to people that just piss you off every time they talk to you. But you have to manage those people, and you have to put your hand around them and go, all right, Delicia, I understand you're upset. but let's work through this. What is it that made you upset, and what can we do to make it better? You've got to manage that culture, and you've got to manage that change. One of the things that I learned years ago that I talk about is don't let somebody be an energy vampire. And everywhere you work, you're going to have somebody that just wants to suck all the fun and all the good out of everybody. They're just no fun. They can become a cancer in your workplace. So you don't want those energy vampires. You want people that are positive and happy and going all the time. On my email, the little in quotations on my email that I have is attitude is everything. And I've had that for years. And again, I learned that from one of my vice presidents one time, because it's the statement out there is, you can't control the things in life that happen. All you can do is your attitude on how you adjust and move forward with it, right? Chris and I had a stressful situation this morning. I couldn't find the classroom today. And I'm stressing because I'm trying to get there. But you get there and you go, hey, it's done. It's over. Everybody's happy. We're all good to go. Let's make it happen. You've got to be able to handle stress. Again, analogy that I talk about a lot is anybody can sail a ship in calm waters. There's nothing to it. I want to be the guy who's at the helm in the hurricane. I want to be the one that people look to go in the middle of a storm. When I'm at the wheel piloting the ship, everybody knows it's going to be okay. You can't be stressful. If you lose control, your team loses control. So you've got to learn how to handle stress. You've got to learn how to handle your tone of voice. You've got to learn to handle how you talk to people. Management. So the definition of management is getting things done through others time and time and time again. Okay? Managers manage actions. Managers manage results. That's what we do. But when you're a leader, leaders deal with experiences. Leaders deal with beliefs. Leaders deal with the way you feel. So there's a difference, if that makes sense. Managers are pushing on action, and leaders are pushing on, I want people to feel good. I want people to like what they do. I want people to enjoy coming to work, doing their job, having a great time. So, as managers, and as you can do this in your workplace today as an employee, but especially as you move up into management, you want to create a positive culture, manage that employee experience. Don't be negative. It's such a cliche, but it's so true. An attitude is contagious, and a positive attitude is contagious. If you work with somebody who's always negative, especially as a boss, everybody's negative. If you work with somebody that's upbeat and positive and optimistic, the whole feel of the restaurant and of the environment and the place you work is going to be like that. So it doesn't matter what you do in your career and what level you are on, and you can start this in your workplace today. Have a contagious attitude, manage positivity, and just be a positive person. Bad things are going to happen. You're going to drop plates and things are going to constantly go sideways. The computers are going to crash. The fryers are going to go out. People are going to call out. You're going to be short-staffed. It's just what we do. Deal with it. Put a smile on your face and go, okay, what do we do to fix it? And it's not always easy and it's not always fun. But leadership is all about, keeping everybody else positive. You might go in the closet and scream, but in front of everybody else, it's just, Steve, we're getting through this. It's not a problem. Chris, I promise we got this. We'll get through. Let's just do this. We'll get it through the shift. And when the shift's over, it's over. You're done. You're through. You're out. Tomorrow's a whole nother day. And Lord knows, if you stay in hospitality, never is the same day repeat itself. There is something new, something chaotic every single day, because you're with the number of people you deal with the guests that you deal with, there's something new to deal with every single day. But I love it. I've been doing it for 34 years, and that's all I know. I could never sit on an assembly line and go to an office and sit and do the same thing every single day, day in, day out. I'm not wired like that. I thrive in the chaos. I like the adventure. So, if I love this business. So Anybody really want to get it, you want more, Chris has got my number, reach out to me. I'm more than welcome to sit and meet and talk. I also sit on the board of the Memphis Restaurant Association. We got a lot going on, right? COVID, you're dealing with all the restaurants in the area and getting people involved. So it's a fantastic business. It's a great career if you want to go that direction. Hospitality is great, and you'll never need a job. They'll always be out there. So, Chris, I know we're kind of rolling up on time. Does anybody else have any questions or anything you'd
Terry.
like?
I do.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about partnering with any hotels just to make any extra money or anything like that?
No, not for what we do. There's a lot of there's a lot of franchising deals that go into that, and most with the restaurant. When you have a restaurant that's inside of a hotel, it's typically run by the hotel. They won't control over it. Not very often will they give you control of a space that they have no say so in. So that's why you don't see a McDonald's in the hotel lobby of a Holiday Inn. Lot of money involved in that. Mr. Chris, you had a question?
No, we got 10 minutes, Terry.
Oh, I can go forever. I have nowhere to be.
Well, there may be some more questions out there. Any more questions for Terry?
Yes, David or Landon.
Yes, I have a question. So you said you were in the casino business. Now what casinos did you work with?
I work for Caesars Entertainment. I opened up the Grand. I don't know if you guys. I opened up the Grand Casino in '96. 92 is when the casinos came to Tunica. I was lucky to kind of be there in the heyday because the casinos were booming. Tunica, the casinos in Tunica, that was the largest gaming center in the entire country between Atlantic City and Las Vegas all through the 90s. But what's happened is all up and down the Mississippi River, they have casinos now. The Indian reservations open casinos. So there are lots and lots of casinos now. But then, it was crazy. So to give you an example, I ran the buffet at the Grand Casino. That was about a 12, depending on the year, 12 to $14 million a year operation. We sat 700 people in the buffet. So it was just banging. So in the heyday, the places were packed. When you're doing, I forget, when you were doing those kind of sales numbers, that's a lot of food and a lot of people. We would run through on a Saturday. We were bringing in buses. So we'd run through 100, 125 bus groups. That didn't include anybody else, right? So you're talking, so just through there, you're talking 5, 6, 7, 800 people with buffet coupons, and they come in waves. But the casino was tremendous because food and beverage is just kind of like the little bastard stepchild in the casino business. The food and beverage is a necessary evil. You make all your money in gaming. You don't make your money in food and beverage. You've got your cocktail servers, you've got your restaurants, but you do a great product. But it's very interesting because the focus is not put on the financials. It's just, you do have a budget, but it's not the pressure to put a lot of money to the bottom line. A ton of our money, a ton of our sales revenue were in comps, casino comps. So in the casino, you're just taking from Peter to pay from Paul. So marketing gives you a free buffet. I'll ring it up and charge it to marketing. At the end of the day, casino's not making any money, right? Because the casino is giving it away. But if people eat, people will stay. And really, like at the Horseshoe and the Grand at that time, we had incredible Friday night seafood buffets. People from everywhere came down because for $20, it was all you can eat seafood. And that was lobster, and that was crab legs, and that was all the shrimp. So most people don't come to the casino and not spend money. So it was a way to get people in. I ran the entertainment venue for a while. That was great. I was there when MMA first started. Dana White, back when they were having they were in like fight 15 and 20. I mean, right off the beginning. So in my sports bar, we would do the week or for like 4 weeks before, we would do a bikini ring girl contest to pick the ring girls. So that would go on. We'd milk that for 4 weeks. And then the night of the fight, we'd have a pregame, we'd have a pre-fight party and a post-fight party, and not to mention the entertainers and the singing. So when you're in food and beverage in the casino business, it was fabulous because I got to go anywhere. I got to go to every show. I got to go to the golf course. Because I'm the food and beverage rep. So if there's a show going on, I just walked into the show. So there were an awful lot of perks. I also got really spoiled because also in the casinos, you've got so many different varieties of restaurants. We had an employee dining room, the buffet, Italian, steakhouse. So you get kind of spoiled when you can walk into one restaurant and say, hey, I want steak and lobster tonight. And then you just walk into the other store and go, hey, I'm going to eat Italian. Or then you go to the buffet and chow down on all you can eat Chinese food. I have a real problem going to a nice steakhouse and paying that much money when I ate for free for so long. So it really does get you spoiled. But I never gambled. I just looked at that and went, I want to keep my money. So I never gave my money back to the casino. But it's a really cool business. Again, in the hospitality side, you could be a VP, you can be the a lot of times the dual role VP where you've got housekeeping and you've got food and beverage is where they've leveraged a lot of that up now. So you can get a tremendous amount of industry experience through the casino because there's so many different things to do in-house. I learned a tremendous knowledge of human resources through the casino. So most of my human resources in dealing with employees when it comes to write-up and counselings and one-on-ones and reviews, an awful lot of the HR side of what I do, I learned in the casinos.
Thanks, Terry. What else we got? Anything else, folks? Anything else at all? Well, Terry, we're going to give you a silent applause here, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And guys, it's been great. Sorry we weren't in person, but I appreciate you attending today. Again, through your school year, Chris is going to have a lot of really cool speakers come and talk to you with just a wealth of knowledge out of this business. So if you tell your friends that weren't on the call, please make sure they're on the call. If you're going into hospitality, they're going to provide just a wealth of knowledge that you can't get in the classroom. You really can't. So it's just on the job experience that these people have learned. It will be a tremendous benefit for you moving forward.
Terry, thanks again. And remember, some of you owe me some homework, and you'll be hearing from me early next week on next week's speaker. Thanks for tuning in. Any questions, any comments, feedback, you have my email address. So don't be a stranger to the email. Let me know what you're thinking. Thanks, folks. See you next week.
Have a great day, everybody.
Bye.
Is everything okay?
Hey, Ashi, you shutting us down?
Yeah, just give me.
Radesh, are you still on?